start a new chapter of English literature today. Name is Henry the Chameleon. It's a story written by Ruskin Bond, who is an Indian author, and he was a great novelist, and he has written many poems, and as for his great works, he has received Sahitya Academy Award, Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan. So he was a great novelist and author of his time. So that is all about his introduction, about the author's introduction. Now coming to the content, coming to the story. I would like to firstly throw a little bit of thing that chameleon, the pronunciation. You should just be very careful with the pronunciation of the chameleon, because I have seen many of the students or many of people just get confused with chameleon or chameleon. So just don't get confused. It's chameleon. Its pronunciation is chameleon, and chameleon is an animal, belongs to the reptile groups, belong to the family of reptiles, and you must have seen it somewhere in a garden, because it's usually not come to inside our home. You must have seen somewhere in the garden or parks, जिसे हम हिंदी में गिरगिट कहते हैं. They have a feature of attaining the color of the things on which they sit. उनके पास ये फीचर है कि वो जिस चीज़ पे बैठते हैं वो वैसे कलर के हो जाते हैं. Okay, so there is a distinguished feature, a unique feature about the chameleons. What is it? What that particular feature distinguishes them from the lizards? They appear more or less like them, but they are very much different from the lizards. Lizards are known as the close relatives of chameleons. Lizards को जो हमारे घर में भी पाई जाती हैं, वो chameleons के close relatives की तरह कहलाती हैं, but they are far different from each other. Basically, the difference is that chameleons have a distinguished feature. The distinguished feature is their bodily appearance, their tongue, which is as long as its body. They have their ribs and limbs to be very slender and strong. They have a rigid crest. So these features distinguish them from the other reptiles. They are not like ordinary reptiles. And Henry the Chameleon. We will come back to our story. Henry the Chameleon, from the name of the story itself suggests that this story is about a chameleon whose name is Henry. So this story is about a pet chameleon. Henry is the pet chameleon who lives at the home of the Ruskin Bond, who is introduced himself in this story as a young little boy. So we will start the story. You must read the story, and I will just explain it paragraph wise. The important lines I will explain it so that you can understand the whole of the story. So in the first paragraph only, it is being described, which I have already told you, about the appearance, about the distinguished feature of the chameleons. ये कैसे वो different होते हैं lizards and other reptiles से. And about the Henry. Now about Henry means about that chameleon, that particular chameleon. He also has a distinguished feature, a very unique feature, which is his unique eyes. इसकी जो eyes हैं, they are very unique. How they are unique? They are unique in the sense that he has both the eyes. He has an independent control over his eyes. He can just look through his one eyes, and he can move his one eye without moving the other. We people, when we are just moving one eye, the other eye will move itself. But the chameleon, that Henry particularly chameleon, has that feature of just moving his one eye without moving the other. That was the most distinguished feature and the unique feature of this chameleon Henry. And this very thing makes him to appear very horrible or dangerous type of animal. So now in this story, it's been explained how the Henry comes to live with the Ruskin Bond, with the boy. One day, the author is explaining and telling about the incident. One day when his grandfather went to meet a friend of his, there he saw and heard some noise coming out from the garden. वहाँ पे उन्होंने garden से कुछ noise आती हुई सुनी. Then after he went there and he found that all the peoples were throwing sticks and stones at that chameleon who was sitting in the garden. He was not at all troubling anyone at that time, but people, they have a belief that chameleons are dangerous. Chameleons are poisonous. That's why they were just trying to get rid of him. Because someone, maybe people around over there, must have said that this chameleon can spread his poison within the 20 feet radius of that particular area. So people get scared, and in order to save their life, they were trying to kill that chameleon. But grandfather there, when he just reached there, he was very at heart loving, animal loving at heart. So he just saved that chameleon and brought him home to live with him. So in this way, that chameleon, that Henry, came to live with the Ruskin Bond, came to live with the grandfather. So Ruskin as a boy, Ruskin Bond, or the author as a boy, is saying that he was always just fond of tickling and just disturbing the chameleon. He was that like type of teasing the chameleon. Sometimes he was tickling his finger inside his mouth, putting the finger inside his mouth, tickling his limbs and ribs with his finger in order to tease him. He just getting the enjoy. He was not aware of the fact that chameleons are really very dangerous. He was just doing it, enjoying and taking a fun. But that was also another important feature of Henry, that he was non-violent. Non-violent means that he could not bite. He didn't bite. He never has bitten anyone, and he also didn't bite that boy. Henry always tried to save himself by just puffing up his lungs and just growing to a big size. But he never has bitten anyone. He never has bitten that boy as well. So this was the important feature, that he was a non-violent. He was a non-violent nature, that he didn't like to bite anyone. And that boy also fed him at home. वो उसे घर पे खाना भी खिलाता था. And that Henry, without causing any injury, without troubling anyone, he lived very calmly and quietly with everyone at the home. One day what happened, another incident has been explained in this story, that grandmother sent a basket full of papayas to her friend named Mrs. Ghosh, who was a principal of a nursery school. So there what happened, before that basket went to the school, Henry at home only, he just smuggled himself, he just has hidden himself inside that basket. Maybe in search of some insects, maybe in search of food. It was not mentioned clearly in the story that what was his intention, but as we are studying, we must be having that and looking at all the features and the nature of Henry. We can say that he must be looking for his insects or something. He just smuggled himself, he just has hidden himself inside that basket, so that he can maybe get some food. What then happened, that basket full of papayas was sent to Mrs. Ghosh. There in the school, Mrs. Ghosh, when opened up the basket to take out the papayas, she just screamed out. She just got frightened that what is this? A big chameleon came out of the basket. She got screamed. Anyone could have screamed, because Henry was not a pet for Mrs. Ghosh, so she just got screamed, and because of that frightened, she just screamed out loud. वो बहुत तेज से चीखती, and everyone present over there in the school, they all got screamed and they got frightened and started screaming. So just listening to the noise, Henry became frightened that what happened. So in order to save himself, he just made his exit from the window thereby. वो उस बगल की विंडो से कूद के वहां से चला जाता है and disappeared into the garden. And when after some of the students tried to catch him, but he just disappeared. And the boy is saying in the end that he thought that he would never see his dear pet chameleon again. But one day what happened, he saw that on the window, by the window side of his garden, the boy saw that particular Henry chameleon was sitting there in the sunning himself, and means that boy was very happy and delighted to see back his pet chameleon again. And they just started and they just live together happily thereafter. So this is the story. I have given you the brief and that paragraph wise. When you will go through the chapter, you will be able to understand better. And if you will be having any difficulty with the hard words, at the back of the story, the hard words, word meanings are given, and you will must go through them while reading the chapter. Just go through the video, just go through the class, listen to it properly, and try to understand the lines. And again, also if you have any other hard words, just mark them with a pencil, note it down. You can use the dictionary at your home, and even after you are not able to understand, we will meet soon in school. I will just sort out all the difficulties what you will face. So just at this present moment, you must go through the chapter. Don't just watch the video for the sake of watching. No, don't do that. Really study properly at home and go through the chapter, question answers, everything, so that your time will not be wasted in that way. So this is all. We will start the next chapter in our next video, in our next class. We will meet soon. Bye bye. Goodbye.